I want to talk about the dark side of boxing. I want to talk about the shadiness that goes on behind the scenes, which you don't see. And I'm going to use my own personal experience regarding my professional debut back in 2005. Listen up. And now look, this is with boxing, but this goes on for any type of business that you are involved in. There's always the people behind the scenes who you don't see or who you don't know. There's a lot of paperwork that you never read over. The fine print, you never read over it. But I'm gonna share my experience on what happened considering my professional debut back in June of 2005. All right, check this out. Now, I had my last amateur fight, I believe it was June 4th in 2005. And then my professional debut was literally a week later on June 10th. I believe those dates are right. But I had literally my last amateur fight a week before my professional debut. Now, me being so young, being so naive, a guy who just wanted to fight, didn't really care, the business side of boxing is there's always negotiations going on, contracts, how much you get paid, hotels, travel funds. There's a lot of responsibility that's on the so-called manager and trainer. The fighter, they just basically just shut up and go fight. Just like in basketball, they say shut up and dribble. And boxing, it's shut up and go fight. So the way that I found out that the game was messed up behind the scenes, okay, I was living down south at the time. I'm from Philly. I was living down south at the time, and then at the time, I don't want to use any names, but if you know me, you know where I come from. Y'all probably figure out who it is, but I don't want to name no names, but just realize it can be anybody. You know what I'm saying? Within your own circle, your own bloodline, matter of fact. But check this out. So I had got a call from my trainer at the time because I had a good performance my last amateur fight, and I was always hungry back then when I first got started, right? And so he called me with a fight that was going on back in my hometown Philly at the legendary Blue Horizon. Now back then, every fighter, especially like within the inner city, you know what I mean? Matter of fact, guys from over the world, the Blue Horizon was a hot spot for boxing because the Blue Horizon was built like a little bull ring, man. You got the ring right here, but then every seat in the house was a good seat. I mean, you had seats so close to the ring here. You had the upper deck where you looked right directly down at the fighters. It was like every seat in the house was a good seat at the legendary Blue Horizon. So I get the call from my trainer at the time to fight the Blue Horizon. And me, I'm like, man, heck yeah, let's do it. I don't care. Now, mind you, like I said, my last amateur fight was, and my professional debut was a week apart, right? So literally, I didn't really have much time to really train, and I didn't know who I was fighting at the time, all right? And so when I told him, yeah, let's do it, he got the paperwork, which I never seen. I never signed nothing personally. Check this out, right? And so he just told me the guy name who I was fighting. His name was Teddy. Everybody knows Terrence Johnson from Philly. He's a national champ, and I believe he's the nephew of Jersey Joe Wilcott. So he comes from a boxing family too. But Ted was a star, a superstar in the amateurs, man. You know what I mean? Now we mad cool these days. You know what I'm saying? But long story short, I signed to fight him, and so long story. I don't want to make it too long, but I ended up going to Philly, went to the weigh-in. You know what I mean? And matter of fact, it was another friend of mine back then. I say I ain't want to name no names, but everybody know Teddy. Everybody know Teddy Johnson, Terrence Johnson, Teddy. Yeah, that's my guy, all right? That's the only name I'm using in this video, but you know what I'm saying? Check this out anyway. So it was another fighter that my guy, my trainer had come with us. And he signed the contract to fight too. And he signed the contract to fight another, amateur star. So basically, we was being brought in to be opponents for the fight, for the card. And so, like I said, we get to the weigh-in, make weight, you know what I mean? And my trainer, he's doing all the talking with the promoter and the matchmakers. So he's doing all the talking. So all we doing basically weigh in, let's go get something to eat, let's go to a hotel room, chill out, and we go fight, okay? So the guy that rode with us, he ended up getting stopped in the first round. He got knocked out in the first round. Okay. Then a couple fights later, my fight come up to fight the national, the national champ, the national star. And I put on a heck of a fight, a heck of a performance. Not really having no real true experience. You know what I mean? Even though 2 of my amateur fights was in national tournaments, right? And I put on a good performance. A lot of people say I got robbed in that fight, but like I say, I take accountability because I didn't knock nobody out. And if, like I say, in life, if you don't take full accountability, you're never going to really get deliverance and really be or pursue anything that you can do full blast if you don't learn how to be accountable for yourself. So long story short, I didn't get the knockout. They gave him the decision. You know what I'm saying? Real good fight, but they gave him the decision. So skipping some stuff, about a week later, I'm back down south and I'm working at a moving company back then. And I remember I was sitting there moving a refrigerator at the time and my phone rung and a 215 number came up from, back home from Philly. So I answered the call and it was the promoter of the show that I fought on. And he asked me, he said, man, listen, you are a good fighter. We seen your amateur pedigree, whatever the case. You didn't have a long amateur career, but you a fighter, and we believe that you won that fight. And they asked me, hey, do you want to move back home? We can move you, we can promote you, we can train you. You don't got to work. All you got to do is train and fight. And so matter of fact, and I accepted it, but I said, let me talk to my trainer first out here to see what's going on. Okay, long story short, some stuff went, happened. And I talked to my coach, my trainer. He didn't want me to do it. Again, like I say, in boxing, you're nothing but a piece of property. People don't want to see you really, really, truly advance. All they want to do is try to pocket what they can pocket from you. You know what I mean? Because you are basically the item, according to them. You know what I mean? That's not how every trainer, every manager look at guys. But, in my situation, this is what it was, right? And so I accepted. My trainer didn't want me to go, but at the time, like I said, I was working at a moving company, and it was a dead-end job. I didn't like my living situation, and all my family was back at home. So I decided to go back to Philly, right? And I get with the promoter, and he basically moved me in at his mom's house. She had a real big house, a nice house out there in Germantown. Had a nice house, and the promoter, he basically asked me to help out his mom with his brother who was going through some physical stuff, you know what I mean? And that was my job, basically, to help him out and just basically get up, go run, be at the gym and train. That was my job, okay? And so, once I got to the house, got myself settled in, his brother was like, nah, I'm cool, my mom got me, blah, blah, blah. But it was a good situation, so, I just was training. I was getting up every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was out there running between 3 to 5 miles. And then, about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, another coach would come get me to go do strength and conditioning in the middle of the woods, do strength and conditioning. And then about 5 o'clock in the evening, we in the gym, right? And so we had it was about a good week went by. And now it was around like 8 o'clock at night. The promoter was in the kitchen doing a lot of paperwork. And I happened to be in the kitchen. I was eating or whatever the case. We was, having a conversation, talking. And then he basically was showing me, the game a little bit, showing me the contracts and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, out the woodwork, my stuff came up about, when me and my other guy, when we went to Philly to go fight, my stuff came up. Long story short, my old trainer back down south, he basically robbed me. He robbed me and he robbed the other fighter that went down there to go fight, okay? When my guy, the promoter, when he sent my old trainer the contract was for $2,500 plus travel. It was $200 for travel, and then it was room and board where they get you a hotel, they get you food. All that was part of the deal just to come fight. So I supposed to left with $2,700 from that fight, but my trainer, he signed the contracts for me and my other guy for $1,000. Okay? Yes, I probably made $2,700 for that for my pro debut, but my trainer, he robbed me and my other guy for the rest. He gave us $1,000 a piece, and then we had to give him an additional $200 for travel, for tolls, for gas, and just for travel. So I left my pro debut with $800 when I was supposed to left with $2,700. And that's the dead facts. And that's when I started to learn how shysty the game was. There's a little bit more to this story, but there's so much more for my career. And so that's when I started to figure out, like, yo, who's who and what's what in boxing. You know, and now I'm looking at everybody with the side eye, you know? And that's what I want to tell y'all in life in general, right? Always have your own best interests at heart. Don't expect people to do for what you can do for yourself, you know? And question everything. Question everybody. Because at the end of the day, you got your own self to be accountable for. There's nobody going to take care of you. There's nobody that's going to love you like you love yourself. Like you're supposed to love yourself. You know? And I just thank God, like, you know, my guy, he got knocked out in the first round. I put on a good fight. I didn't have a mark on my body, on my face. No bruises, nowhere. It was a good fight. You know what I mean? Which, you know, I believe I won that fight, and a lot of other people won, and the promoter thought I won. That's why he actually moved me back home. You know? But long story short, you know, we win some, we lose some. But as far as accountability, I didn't knock him out, so I didn't do enough, you know? But just in life, man, question everybody. A lot of people are going to like you. I don't even want to say love. A lot of people are going to like you for what you can do for them or what they can get from you. But once that benefit is gone, they're going to be gone too. There's a lot more. Like I said, I don't want to stretch this video out. I might make a part 2 to it. But that trainer that was training me, he was known in boxing to be a journeyman because he was an old professional too. He was an old journeyman, real tough, rugged journeyman. Never been knocked down, never been knocked out. I believe he had over like 60-something pro fights, and he fought some world champions, you know? And if people don't got that business mind for themselves, don't expect them to have that business mind for you. See, I learned from my mistakes. That's why all the guys that I train, even when it comes to personal training or training for boxing, I make sure that I have their best interests at heart, because that's in my best interest to make sure they get what they get. Because if they get results, it's going to keep coming back to me. But if I rob them for one session or rob them for one round, then guess what? They can be gone. They can be like, you know what, thanks, but I'm out of here. Now I just missed out on my blessing. You understand? So don't live your life like a scumbag, man. Don't live shysty, man. A lot of people out here in the business world, and like I said, I'm gonna say boxing. And like I say, that's why a lot of times when you know kids get out of college, they're very, very advised to make sure you have a lawyer. Make sure you have a lawyer, because a lot of these promoters and matchmakers, they know how to use certain words. They know how to put stuff to make it sound so good, but not knowing that at the end of the day, that is their best interest at heart, and you're going to be one stuck with the bill, you know? And I won't leave it right there, man. I just want to, put it out there when I had my pro debut, when I started finding out about the boxing game, or how dirty and shicey it was, when I got robbed for more than half of my purse, and my other guy too, you know? So just keep your eyes open, man, and love yourself. Take care of yourself, seriously. Because life, I'm telling you, man, life is gone. It's passing by, man. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're able to take care of yourself. You're mentally, you're emotionally, still intelligent. You're physical to be able to take care of your family. Because sports is a hard sport. I know in the NFL, there's a lot of concussions all of a sudden going on. In boxing, people, suffering years later. They get out the game healthy, but then 10 years later, their speech starting to get messed up. Their vision starting to get messed up. So it's like, man, look, take care of yourself, man. And make sure that you got your own best interests at heart, man. So next video, y'all be good. Team Heat Boxing. Peace.